talk about Dutch buckets. Dutch buckets are a favorite tool amongst all hydroponic growers. They are easy to build, scalable, and great for growing many kinds of fruits and vegetables. As you can see here, I'd like to show you exactly what a Dutch bucket hydroponic system is, what it looks like, and you can even build one yourself. A Dutch bucket, as you can see here, is a hydroponic system in which 2 or more growing containers are connected to the same irrigation and drainage lines. This is an incredibly water and nutrient efficient method, ideal for growing heavy feeding viney plants such as tomatoes. As you see here, this is a long line of heavy fruits. This system is great for these type of plants.
For our irrigation system, we use halos, and the main reason we use halos is because they disperse water evenly around the whole root system, and this is really good when our tomato plants were first starting out. It made it easy for the root system to grow a great spread and not just an equal straight down spread, and that's a big reason why we opted for that. And as you can see, these are dripped into the same exact line all the way down. We have 2 different solutions. For a Dutch bucket has a tiny reservoir in the bottom, which will ensure, like, if there is any irrigation failure, the roots can still have a little bit of time to uptake, especially when you're using a dry substrate like perlite that doesn't retain water well. As you can tell, this was watered recently, but it's still very dry. And that's a Dutch bucket. Hey, my name's Samuel, and I'll be talking about the irrigation system we use for our Dutch buckets. So we opted to use 2 different nutrient concentrations. Basically, it's the same fertilizer, but one is at a higher concentration than the other. Our line 1 is at, for every 200 gallons of water, we have 1 gallon of solution going into the system. And this is through our dosatrons, where as you can tell, this is opted for, you could do up to another solution, like maybe a calcium, or if your fruit needs more calcium, or maybe another type of solution. We just opted for one base 15-5-15, and it's used on both lines. And then our other one is at 400 gallons of water to 1 gallon of solution, so it's half the amount of solution. All right, so now I'm going to show you how we created our stock solution and how much fertilizer we knew we had to use. So I go to this website from Dosatron, because we're using dosatrons, and we want 200 ppm of nitrogen for our solution. Our fertilizer is 15% nitrogen, and our injection ratio we want to be using per gallon is 1:100. So I put all of these in, and we're refilling the tank only to 10 gallons since it doesn't use a lot. And what this does is it will calculate, and it'll tell us our ounces per gallon, and then it also tells us the weight we need of our fertilizer. And right now we're actually using, we're almost out of it, is Jack's 15-5-15 calcium magnesium, and that's it. Makes this blue Kool-Aid.
Oh, hello guys, I'm James. I'm in the Dutch Buckets group. I'm going to explain some of the general plant care we did while growing our tomatoes this year. So to start, we trained our tomatoes using string hanging from the ceiling with these clips. Pretty regular tomato growing practice. We spent a lot of time pruning off all of the extra suckers that shoot off from the plant. We really only want to grow like one main stem that fruits directly off the main stem to boost our yield. So we spent a lot of time cutting out all these giant suckers, and a lot of time managing our crop load. It's good because it forces more energy and nutrients into the fruit, and it kind of thins the tomatoes so they don't get, it makes them less prone to like fungal disease. We were lucky to get a nice cultivar. It's more like a cherry tomato cultivar. They typically have some more like disease resistance resistance, and we're pretty easy to work with for us. We were lucky not to have too much disease problems thanks to the greenhouse being really well ventilated, and they got plenty of sunlight. Some of the more horticultural things that we did to take care of our plants. You know, a good thing to do would be like try different cultivars and figure out like your specific environmental conditions where you are to try and work with it as best you can. Yeah, and now I'm gonna send this over to Ariana to talk about some more of our activities for this project.
Hi, my name is Ariana, and I'm going to talk a bit about what we did to take care of the tomatoes from week to week. And so every week we came into the greenhouse 2 times, and we would measure the pH and the EC, which we would collect the water from here and just put it in a beaker, and then use some of the meters, which I'll show later. And we also took the height and width of each plant, so just kind of like this, and took it east to west for the width, and also north to south. And at the end of the experiment, we took the fresh and dry weight of 2 plants for each treatment, and this is one of them. It's gone, but we chopped it up and dried it and measured it. At the end of the experiment, we also harvested all the tomatoes that were ripe from at least here, like at least 1/3 of the vine was ripe. So we did that all at once and measured the weight for that. Okay, to measure the chlorophyll, we use these meters. The anthocyanin also is the same type of meter. You just put the leaf inside of this little slot and then press down, and then it gives you a reading. And then for the pH and the EC, we just use this, only 1 meter, and we just calibrate it with a solution, and we dip it into what we collected from the hose from each one, and we get our readings.
All right, so now for a quick data analysis, and we're gonna go over a few measurements that I actually saw were actually valuable from our experiment. Since we only did 2 different concentrations of a fertilizer solution, the results weren't really exciting, but let's first talk about the height. The height comparison between treatment A and treatment B, as you can tell, there's a huge bump at week 4, and that's because we doubled both the amount of fertilizer concentration in each solution. So our treatment A at the beginning was getting 600 gallons of water to 1 gallon of solution, and then we bumped it to 400 gallons of water to 1 gallon of solution, so getting a lot more. And then the other one was at 400 gallons of solution to begin, treatment B, and then we moved it down. We moved it up to 200 gallons to 1 gallon of solution. So it was double the amount of solution throughout the whole experiment. So our pH comparison. So clearly our treatment B, due to nitrification, our solution is going to be more acidic. So treatment B, since I have more fertilizer solution, as you can tell, is not as basic as treatment A. Not very interesting. Fresh weight versus dry weight was the most interesting measurement throughout the whole experiment. And it actually kind of shows that there is sort of a difference in plant health with the fertilizer solutions and the fertilizer concentration. So with treatment B, you almost see it's almost double treatment A in both dry weight and fresh weight. And that's just overall biomass with the leaves, the stem, just the whole plant in general was double the weight, both fresh and dry. So now we're going to talk about what we would like to do differently. And Ty's actually going to start out with this.
Hello. So the first thing I would do differently is actually conduct a phenotypic evaluation on the tomato production, meaning that I would incorporate a disease rating scale to measure how healthy the plant is throughout the whole experiment. with susceptible ratings and resistant ratings. And that will ultimately determine like what phenotypes are resistant and susceptible over time.
I'm back. So I want to talk about what I would do differently. Mainly, if I was to change anything, it would have been having different fertilizer solutions and actually testing besides just a basic 15-5-15. Maybe we would make our own fertilizer solution. From the class we did, we'd actually make our own combination of macro and micronutrients and see if ours is much better than just a simple bag solution like the ones we used. Or I would have liked to change the substrate from maybe we could have done clay pebbles or coconut coir instead of just perlite. And I think we would have seen a lot more fun/exciting results throughout the whole thing. Thank you for listening to our project.